And you go, really? Yeah. Well, what is it? The idea of doing away with abortion incrementally, in steps. From their perspective, sin. Abject sin. Well, I hadn't, I've listened to a little bit more now, but even at that time I could tell. Look, I was offended. Now, this guy has written an open letter out. Evidently, he's a good member of a church, and he was involved with George Saig and all those things. Wonderful. I have no idea who he was when he ambushed me, and it was an ambush. And it is unfair, it is unkind to come up to someone who just did a debate with a Muslim, who's going to do more ministry to Muslims right at that time, and try to drag them into something else. I will not apologize for that. It's unkind, it's rude, and if you don't get it, then you're not listening. I wouldn't do that to anybody else. And yet, I've got AHA folks to this day. He was lying. I didn't know the man from Adam. And what I said happened afterwards is what happened afterwards. And I say, yeah, but you just assumed he was just not a part of a church. Yeah, I did assume that. Well, he is part of a church. That's not a lie. I didn't know who he was. Hello? Anyway. So, I was like, wow, this is, I'm hearing about them showing up at other churches. I start seeing stuff on YouTube of them showing up at churches and protesting at churches. And I'm like, what are these guys doing? What's the point here? Well, a week ago Sunday, they show up at Emilio Ramos's church outside of Dallas. Now, if you don't know who Emilio Ramos is, I've done some stuff with Red Grace Media. And by the way, Emilio, you gotta get that movie out, dude. I'm gonna ride my bike over to Dallas, and I'm gonna do some burnt pork sacrifices in your kitchen at 2 a.m. in the morning just to wake you up. Actually, this is the scariest thing you can ever do, Emilio. I will wake you up before 10 o'clock in the morning. That's serious stuff right there. Emilio's a night owl. Both he and Trish both. Anyway, if you don't know who Emilio is, most of the time what you see Emilio doing is street witnessing. Goes out to the university, deals with students there, dealing with all sorts of issues. They're a out there evangelical church doing their whole thing. They're not the chosen frozen sitting around on their tushes. Emilio was involved in setting up that debate we did last year and all the rest of that stuff. So they show up at Emilio's church, and I'm like, I'm sorry, whose side are you on again? There's, if you're going to show up at a church, why don't you show up at the church that's supporting abortion? The ones that are actually so profaning the gospel that they will actually say, there are churches out there that say Jesus would have supported abortion. I'm for you showing up there. That's just apostasy times 10. Though I'll be perfectly honest with you, if it's the Lord's Day, why aren't you in a church? Why aren't you teaching? Why aren't you? And that's one of the big issues, is when you actually start getting into AHA. There is, unfortunately, amongst many of them, not all, because, by the way, AHA is someone's walking in the door that I'm not sure why. You might want to check. AHA is a loose affiliation. Most people identify Russell Hunter as one of the leaders of AHA, but one of the problems is that when you criticize one group of people, they'll point to another group of people who do things differently and get around it that way. So it's a loose affiliation, but one thing that is obviously true is there is a fundamental ecclesiological problem with a large number of the leaders of AHA. A fundamental biblical problem in understanding who elders are, ministry of the church, church discipline, the ordinances of the church, New Testament stuff. And so it makes sense. They've got plenty of time on a Sunday to be standing outside somebody else's church in that particular situation. So what happened was Emilio put out a video. I've got other things going on in my life. Really haven't commented much. But when they showed up last Sunday, I think either Sunday or Monday, I commented on a single comment on Facebook. A single comment on Facebook. That when I saw how many more had showed up for the second week, I said, this is payback. You pushed back, you dared to say, and this is payback. This is just, oh, you think you're going to rebuke us? Look how many more people. And I had actually seen someone post a Facebook thing where they were calling for more people to come. So those two things, the little Facebook thing that I did in regards to that guy that came after me after the debate, and then that comment, evidently that's it. That was enough for Russell Hunter to pray imprecatory prayers about me. So let's take a look at some of this. This was Russell Hunter going off. Here we go.
About these things and tactics and so on and so forth. And so people like Joseph Randall Spurgeon and other people who have been not big fans of abolitionism or not big fans of individuals and stuff don't get immediately kicked out of the page and don't just get booted and don't get called names and mocked and derided like I know some people say we do, but nothing like what is going on the Babies Are Murdered Here pages, the Bible Thumping Wingnut pages, the pages of these celebrity pastors like James White, the pages of these celebrity...
Now, by the way, what? There wasn't a syllable. What? A syllable. I had not said it. Who said anything? What are you talking about? What color is the sky in your world, Russell? What are you